day 19 of Sewtember. I have really been enjoying your comments and your questions on all of the tutorials and videos that I've been releasing. Thank y'all so much for watching. It's really been a fun experience for me, and hopefully it has been for you as well. Today we are going to explore something a little bit different. I'm going to combine some software features along with something that I can create and bring into my embroidery machine. Let's get started. When using Palette 11, there is a variety of features that we can use within the software. But today we will be creating designer background fills. When we are creating our designer fills, we'll use the option icon in the upper right hand corner of our software. Notice that it drops down, it has a menu that drops down, and we'll select Programmable Stitch Creator. This gives us the features that we'll need to create those designer fills. Once we've selected that icon, you'll notice it opens up another window for us. On the left, you have a 4x4 area where we can create and design fills. I like bringing in a backdrop, a background image that I've created, or using an image that I've found somewhere on the internet to help me create my designer fill. We'll be creating one of our designer fills together, you and I, here in just a little bit. Some other features that we can also select in the upper left hand corner. You'll notice that we have our file icon. We'll use this to save in the future. We have our home tab and we have our view tab. When we are selecting our background image, we'll select our view tab. But if you'll notice here in this area, we have the option to turn a grid on or turn the grid off. When we're creating straight lines, designs that have very distinct points and straight lines, we'll want to use the grid. The grid allows you to have those points that you are placing within your design to snap to the grid, and it'll give a little more accuracy. When we're creating designs that has curves within it, we want to make sure that we remove the grid. And in order to remove the grid, you'll notice that there's a slider above the area that says grid. You just slide it all the way to the left to the minus sign and your grid will disappear. We'll create a design that has straight lines together first. We'll select Open Template. We'll bring in a background image to get started. You'll notice when I select the Open Template, we'll want to navigate over to our computers wherever we have saved our images that we'll use as a backdrop. You can see that I've had a lot of fun creating background images to use to create my designer fills. Once we've navigated over to our computers where we've saved our backdrops, then you'll select whichever image you may want to use as a backdrop. Like I said, I have a variety of images within my computer already that I've created. I've selected one of my background images that has a lot of straight lines. Once I've selected the image, you'll notice that I have the little black squares all the way around. I'll grab the squares in the upper right corner, or you could grab it in the upper left-hand corner as well. I want to enlarge that background image to fill the 4x4 space on the area that we'll use to design with. Since my machine, whenever I bring these designer fills in, are sized really close to 4 inches. Once you're using the full area of this 4x4 area, it will set you up for success creating those fills and bringing them into your machine. So whenever you're repeating the design itself, they nestle closer together. So I always enlarge it as large as I can. If you'll notice, I'm going to select the Home tab and then select the Draw Line. Now that we've selected the Draw Line, we can use our background image to start placing our points and just following that background image to create our original designer fill. When I start clicking, I'll left click on my mouse and I'll use each of the points on my background image as a reference area. Now this is my design. I can create those design points wherever I may want to. So you'll notice as I start clicking and moving around with my cursor and popping those points onto the area, I may not even exactly follow my background image. Like I said, it's a reference and I'm the designer. So I'll just quickly come through the design itself and pop a point on each of those corners. It's really as easy as that. Now, one thing you'll notice here in a little bit, if you see that I might decide that I want to back up, I didn't like the way I placed a point, I can actually use my backspace option on my computer and back up those points. Once I back the points up, then I just continue forward and continue creating the design. I'll continue following my background image, popping the points where I may want them to be, and finish up our pattern. Like I said, this is a continuous pattern, so you'll see me just continue forward and pop the points where I want them to be until I get all the way back to where I began. Let's finish up clicking our points to create this pattern. Once we arrive back where we started, we'll left double click our mouse and it'll complete our designer fill. Notice on the right hand side, you see a preview image of the designer fill that we created and what it'll look like when we place it all together within our machine. How pretty is that? It's very angular. I think it is definitely a designer fill that I will use often. Once we've finished our design, we'll need to save it. So we'll select our file icon in the upper left-hand corner. I'll select Save As. Now your computer brings up the area that the file needs to be saved in. It needs to save in that pattern area. Don't ever change that. But you'll notice down at the bottom where it says File Name, this is where you will give whatever the design you've created the name that you would like for it to be. And then you'll also notice the format. For our field designs, that PLF is the format that the machine uses and the software uses. So leave that alone as well. Once you've saved it and you've given it a name, it's now on your computer. Let's create another designer fill. I'll select my View tab and then we'll delete our background image. We'll navigate up to our Home tab and select our Select feature. You'll always want to select your Select feature when you're selecting your design that's on the workspace. So once again, I've chosen my Select feature. We'll select the design we just created and then we'll delete it. That way we have a clean workspace to create our next design. We'll also need to remove our grid. We'll be creating a curved design. As curvy as we can create it. The software doesn't have a curve option, but as we place those points a little closer together, you'll notice that once I show you the stitch out, we'll have a curve illusion. We've selected the View tab. We'll bring the slider for the grid all the way to the left so it's removed our grid. We'll select our Open template once again and navigate over to the background images I've created. I have lots in here. Let me show you a couple more that I have. We won't actually create the design from them, but let me just show you a couple more before we grab our curvy design. What do you think about this one? I think this one looks very interesting. As you can see, I have so many in here that I've created because once I started playing with this and just creating and designing, it's pretty addicting. Let's see, which one am I going to select here? I think it's going to be my curvy one that we're going to create together. Oh, not this one, but look, it does have a good bit of curves with it. I like this one as well. And I think the last one that I select, we're going to create this one together. Yes, what do you think about this one? This one's really fun. And if you'll notice on this design itself, it's actually a mirror image of each other. So what we'll do when we start creating this design, we'll place our points on one side of the design itself, the background image itself, then we'll copy it, we'll paste it, and we'll flip it horizontally. So we'll just need to place our points on one side of this design. And then very quickly, we'll have a full design just by copying and pasting it, flipping it, and placing it right where we want it to connect up together. All right, so once again, let's get started. We've selected our points, and you'll notice as I start clicking on the image, I will click my points a little closer together to also accomplish that illusion of curves. And whenever I do that, you'll notice that once it's stitched out, it really does create a very pretty design. You'll also see me in this option backspacing a little more often because I want to try to get right on top of those little lines as best I can. If I'm not exactly accurate, you'll notice that I just keep on going, but it does look really pretty once it's stitched out. So we'll continue placing our points along our curved area to create our curvy design. Once we get to the end where we want our line to stop, we'll double left mouse click and that'll end our line. Look, and our preview image shows us what we've created as well. We need to select our design, so we'll choose our select feature and then drag our box all the way around the design that we just created. Notice how it selects it. Then we'll choose our copy feature and then paste. Now that we've pasted, the paste feature will place that design right on top of the one that we created originally. You'll notice that our cursor looks a little different. When you have the cursor that appears like this, you can left select and then drag that design on top of that right area where we want it to be placed. Now remember, we're going to need to flip this horizontally so we have that mirror image appearance. I then use my arrows on my computer to move and position the design on top of the backdrop image. So I just slightly use the arrows and position it right where I want it until that makes me happy and it appears that I have that accurate mirror image option on the right side and on the left side. Once I've positioned it exactly where I want it, then we'll need to once again save our design. But look at your preview window. Look how interesting that design appears. It is so fun and easy to create these background images, and I can't wait to show you how we'll place them over in the machine in a little while as well. Now that we've created this design, let's save it. We'll select our file icon and then save as. And once again, this is going to be the same process that we followed earlier. We'll rename it. Just make sure that you're only changing the name. It automatically gives you the format and it's going to place it exactly where it needs to within your computer. And that way the program recognizes it as well. Once we've named it, then we'll save it. And it's on our computer right where we need it to be. To retrieve it, place it on a flash drive and bring it over to our Solaris Vision. Let's remove our background image just so we get a little look at what the design looks like. Now remember what I said, it really does appear curvy once we stitch it out. We have our two designs that look really well together. We only had to design the points on one side, copy paste it, mirror image, and position it. Very quickly, we have our curvy design. Next, you'll need to have a flash drive. I've placed a flash drive into my computer. And then we'll navigate over to our computer. We'll select our File Explorer. And then we'll find our C drive on our computers. Once you find your C drive on your computer, select your Windows C drive. You'll find the program file times 86 or x86. We'll select that folder. We'll select the Baby Lock folder, the Palette version 11 folder, and then our pattern folder. This is where our designs are saved whenever we save them from the software. We'll want to look through the list and find the designs that we saved. It's important that you'll remember what you saved your design as. Whenever you find your file that you saved, we'll copy it. We'll right click and copy. And I'll navigate over to my flash drive that I've attached to my computer and right click and paste that file onto the flash drive. You'll notice that I've already created quite a few of those designer fills and placed them on my flash drive. We created one more designer fill together. Let's go back to our C drive, our program file times 86, our Baby Lock folder, our Palette version 11 folder, and our pattern folder. You'll follow this process each time you are copying the designs that you've created and pasting them over to your flash drive, getting ready to place them onto your machine. Once we finish this process, we'll bring them over to our embroidery machines, our Baby Lock Solaris Vision, and bring them into IQ Designer and use these custom fills that we've created together. You'll notice that I really have had lots of fun. I have quite a few of those fills on my flash drive. It's just such a fun process. Let's head over to our Baby Lock Solaris Vision. Now that we've created our decorative fills, let's bring them into our Baby Lock Solaris Vision. I've placed my flash drive within the side of my machine. We'll select IQ Designer. You're going to be amazed at how simple this is. We'll select our designer fill key. We'll select our decorative fill key and select. And you'll notice we now have a tab that says custom. We'll select our custom tab And then we'll select our flash drive by using this memory pocket that appears in the upper right-hand corner. You'll notice that I've already brought some of these fills in for my flash drive, but we're going to walk through this together. We'll select our little pocket. And here are all the designs that I created within palette 11. Here's our jig-jag pattern. Let's select that one. And we'll select OK. And you'll notice now that it's been brought into IQ Designer. So we can use this fill just like we use any of those other decorative fills. We'll select OK. And OK once again. We'll highlight our fill cup and touch the screen. How fun, fast, and easy that was. I'm sure that you can imagine some of those decorative fills that you may want to create and bring into IQ Designer within your Baby Lock Solaris vision. Thanks for watching day 19. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Post your sew on Instagram and hashtag Sewtember. Join our Facebook group as well. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would love for you to subscribe and click that like button if you enjoyed the tutorial. Join me tomorrow for day 20.